What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend so far. Bitcoin is actually still holding quite nicely at that level where we had marked out in the previous video. Now, I didn't make a video yesterday. There really wasn't that much going on, but as we are leading into the week, there are many things we need to talk about. And one thing I want to specifically say is to just be careful following this herd mentality, right? Everybody gets bullish. We all start longing. And now Bitcoin is down 10% and everyone's got their shorts open, right? Let me just discuss what we're seeing in the charts because we are seeing some mixed signals. I will get into that. Currently right now, though, you will notice that we are finding support right here. So I do want to let you know what we can expect going into the week. I also wanted to talk about some of these historical golden cross scenarios. We actually have that charted thanks to Masari. You would be quite surprised, actually, what tends to happen after these bullish golden crosses. So what is the odds that Bitcoin does continue to the upside? We will talk about that. Today is the Super Bowl. So if you are here watching the video, thank you for supporting me on this monumentous occasion happening over here in the US. By the way, what team are you rooting for? Drop that in the comments below. But I do want to talk about preparing for the potential first death cross ever for Bitcoin. And I do want to talk about a big concern that I have. And this is actually nothing on the technicals as far as Bitcoin is concerned. It's just about the macro correlation. So hopefully I'll be able to keep today's video a little bit shorter. I know you guys are busy partying, eating wings, doing whatever you guys are doing, having some drinks, watching the game, but I do want to just give you a quick overlook what we could expect leading into Monday. So if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. We have a lot to go over today. So as I said, we were putting in this ascending broadening wedge, and remember that they do tend to break in the opposite directions. Obviously, if it was a descending broadening wedge, we would expect it to break to the upside. So we did actually fall, and once we got below this area, that was the area where we knew to at least take a minimal short-term short. But as I said, a lot of people are loading up on their shorts right now. Is that the correct position to be in? Well, I will point out that, on this 4 hour, you can't deny that we have now put in a lower high. And look at this perfect bounce that we just had right here, guys. We almost had, literally missed our targets by what, $20. And now we're heading back up to the heart line, right? To the center. And of course, it just freaking disappears. Thank you for doing that, guys. Not even sure what button I just hit, but okay, we're back here looking at the chart. So as I was saying, we were putting in these lower highs, and yes, we have hit this heart line right here. So obviously, if we're able to break out of this, then the next level is retesting again around 22,800, which I do believe that Bitcoin is going to go back up to. I think we're going to have to just test that to see if we can get up to that area. But worst case, we'll probably come back up here and, retest this downward sloping trend. And then we know we will head back down. And of course, as I've been saying, we do still have a CME futures gap at around 19,990, right? But here's the thing. We said that we knew that we needed a retest on this falling wedge pattern. Now, this is an extremely bullish pattern. It would be very bearish if we fell back inside of it, that's for sure, unless this was just a major fake out or something like that. But ultimately, you still do want to come down here and at least retest the top of this blue zone. Now, here's the craziest part. The top of this blue zone is sitting at around $19,805, and we need 19,900 to close the CME futures gap. So once again, it would not be uncommon to see this level. Now, if you're looking to take the trade, well, the short-term trade was on the bounce that we had talked about, but the reason I said to remain cautious is because we did have that move to the downside. Now you do want to have that confirmation if you want to continue shorting Bitcoin or if you want to wait for the next setup of the long. And what we're seeing right here is we are seeing the X on wave edge telling us that we could be looking for that potential short-term reversal. But here's the thing. If you look at market cipher down here, we are having, this wave, right, coming to the downside. So what we're kind of looking for is to see if that wave puts in a smaller wave like this. If it does, then you would look to take that short. If this continues to the downside and we have a little wave like this, then you're going to have 3 waves consecutively showing us that the momentum is still pushing to the upside. And if we get confirmation on either of those, then I would take the trade accordingly. Right now, personally, it's a weekend. It's no man's land. You're kind of guessing what you're doing, but make sure that you guys get subscribed, watch the tutorial popping up above, and click the link below in the description right now if you guys want to get those bonuses and learn how to trade, because there may be some opportunities. Like I said, I'm just waiting for that confirmation on the momentum, because right now we are getting mixed signals. So I'm not going to say, just put in a long right now or put in a short right now just because. Let's give the chart a minute to just mature, and then we'll have a better plan. And remember, guys, you don't always have to be trading. People think like, oh, I got to be trading all the time. You can have only a few trades a month, or even 1 or 2 trades a month. But as long as you know and you're set up for them and they're good trades, that's really all you need, right? Because one of the things that we were pointing out was we have this sort of triple threat, right? Where we have the death cross, the downward sloping trend, this horizontal. But I want to also point out that we have this upwards trend as well. These green lines, right? So this is trending upwards and this is trending upwards. And this is another crazy thing. You can't make this up. Look at where all of these points coincide. These downwards trend and this upwards trend, look at this, guys. They come to a perfect cross right around here. And this is pretty much the week of July 10th to July 17th. So I know that that's very far out considering we're only in February, but what if we did this? Would you guys be able to stick around? What if Bitcoin just consolidated like this into this apex? We had these moving averages coming down like this, and then boom, we finally had the breakout there, right? After retesting the slope, the downwards trend, and continuing sideways into this giant asymmetrical triangle. It's just hypothetical. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe that won't happen, but that would be very healthy for Bitcoin. And I know that a lot of people would not want to consolidate, between basically 25,000 and 18,000 until the summer. But if we did, what that would do was it would be coiling up like a spring, right? And when that spring finally let loose, still being out of the downwards falling wedge pattern, I think that we would have a really, really, really nice move to the upside. And then we probably could start that massive, massive run and just kind of projecting out, right? So we have this golden cross on the daily. We know we're going to get a death cross on the weekly. I'm pretty sure we're going to get that. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen for the first time ever, but let's just have a look historically. So looking kind of like 6 months out, what is the average, okay? So well, first of all, in a month, the average is really only 2% to negative 4%, right? So if you think that this golden cross right now is going to be like the big move, well, actually, historically, a month after the golden cross, price tends to come down, right? Because people are seeing it, oh, it's bullish, and then the markets do the opposite. But if you look at 6 months to a year out, now look at this average. The average return is about 34%, the median being 40%, and the average return after a year is around 156% to a median of 131. So between 131 and 156%. Now, that is basically looking at a year out from now. So if you're looking to February of 2024, right? You're looking at Bitcoin potentially being 150% higher than where we are right now, which would put us around 50,000, 55,000 if I did my math correct. And that would put us directly leading into the halving, which is supposed to be happening sometime around April. And there's a very good chance that the Fed will have had their pivot at that point. And of course, we know you tend to take that dump around the pivot, but everything is lining up. All the stars are lining up. So I can't stress it enough. If you have that year to 2 year timeline, it's going to be insane. And of course, I think they're going to have figured out a lot of the regulation issues, which we'll get into in a minute. Short term, we still do have the DXY looking like it's trying to sort of break out of that level, right? But here's the thing. Here's the problem. Here's the concern. Like Santiment points out, we still have Bitcoin having a ridiculous correlation to the stock market. Still, unfortunately, right? Even though we are seeing bigger percentage gains in Bitcoin, we've still seen larger percentage gains to the downside. So even though Bitcoin has rallied substantially more than the stock market, Bitcoin is still down substantially more. You could see the swings are bigger in both directions. And right now, we are having the S&P look like it's attempting to come down here and potentially retest this upward sloping trend. And even though that would be a positive for the S&P, that means Bitcoin would still have to pull back a little bit, right? So we do have to keep our eyes on that. Now, talking again about what happened with the SEC. Jesse Powell says, oh man, all I had to do was fill out a form on a website and tell people that staking rewards come from staking. Wish I'd seen this video before paying a $30 million fine and agreeing to permanently shut down the service in the US. How dumb do I look? Gosh, right? But ultimately, you know, we've talked about how they keep it convoluted, they keep it gray because they make their money off of fines and stuff like that. But really, ultimately, all they're saying is, and I think a lot of people are twisting the FUD here, they're not against staking. They're against the staking as a service without registering with the SEC on centralized platforms, right? Again, it is meant to be convoluted and gray and confusing. But, you know, what they're trying to say is basically, you need to come to us, you need to pay the fee, right? Because we want money. And yeah, so that's basically what they're doing. But, you know, as negative as this seems, even with some of these stories like Binance temporarily suspending their withdrawals of US dollars, now they're not, and here's the thing, people were freaking out about this Binance story. It was not explained. Other methods were not affected, so they didn't really say why they did this, but the freeze applies only to international users. Binance US claims that its customers will not be affected, right? And this is potentially because the Binance US platform is compliant, which is why you can't do anything on there. It sucks. Nobody uses it. Well, some people use it, but not a lot of people use it. Let's be honest. So, you know, ultimately, this is showing that there is this fight between compliance. And while I don't believe that while I don't believe regulation is necessary, I do think that the more these exchanges become compliant, like look at the issue that we had with FTX, right? All of this stuff was happening on the international branch, although yes, US users were affected as well, but it's kind of making it seem more regulated, and you're going to get those bigger players, those bigger entities, the sovereign wealth funds. I keep saying the same thing over and over again. They're going to be coming in when they feel more confident and when they see the SEC cracking down on crypto, or, you know, seeing that they're trying to make it more compliant. It's actually sending the signal to them that it could be gearing up for a better opportunity for these bigger players to get invested, right? Also, just wanted to drop a somewhat positive story. You can see Genesis Global has actually reached an agreement with Digital Currency Group and its creditors, aiming to return at least 80% of the funds. So this was a big story we'd been talking about for weeks about what was going to happen with Genesis. So it says that it's going to see them and their market making arm sold as part of restructuring efforts. Now, on the flip side, you do have Cash Cloud's, Genesis being their creditor. They have liabilities between 100 million and 500 million. So it's not over, it's far from over, but it's starting to look better. It's starting to seem like there's less and less and less of a chance of another black swan event. And maybe the FTX debacle really truly was the worst of what we had to see. And what's interesting is if you just look at the sentiment, you know, looking at everything that's happening, you could still see that there was a study by Bankless Times that revealed that 67% of millennials, or at least in this case, respondents aged 27 to 42, still consider Bitcoin a safe haven despite the price decline. Previous polls had shown that millennials are among the most active demographic group in cryptocurrency. Those born between 1981 and 1996 are more open to digital innovations and more likely to deal with Bitcoin than baby boomers and even Generation X. Now, the whole Generation X thing is interesting. I don't know if it has anything to do with just their age specifically, but I do know a lot of, you know, the younger kids right now. I guess are we in Gen Alpha now? I don't even know how these things work after a while. But you know, when I had that interview with Miss Teen Crypto, she had actually talked about how it's difficult for anyone under the age of 18 to get involved in cryptocurrency because all these platforms you have to be at least 18 years or older. I didn't even pay attention to that because, like, when I got into crypto, I was clearly how old was I when I bought my I think it was 29. 29 when I bought my first Bitcoin, which is crazy. Now there's like Bitcoin millionaires, and they're like 22 years old, 20 years old. Lucky for you kids. Bitcoin didn't exist when I graduated, okay? When I graduated and they asked me what I wanted to be, I could have never even said what I do because it didn't exist yet. So I still stand with Bitcoin, so I guess I am part of this demographic. Most millennials that participated in the survey do believe that Bitcoin will go mainstream in the following years. They also see it as better monetary as a better monetary tool than the dollar. So, and you know, I have noticed that. Like, for example, over on my TikTok, you do notice a lot of younger people. Like, I literally had like a 15-year-old kid, literally, like on TikTok, like telling me that I didn't know what I was talking about when it came to cryptocurrencies. And I was like, okay, you're right, my friend. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I've only been doing this thing for 7 years. But then I look at my YouTube demographics, and it is a lot of like 25-year-olds and higher. So there is that like sort of millennial to maybe like older of the Gen X, I noticed. So, but I'm curious, how old are you, my viewers? I mean, I could just check the demographic, but who's watching today daily? You know, I'm just curious. So let's end on some good news. Let's get on out of here. Of course, I was going to keep the video short, but you know, that's impossible on the Crypto Zombie channel. So we do have Brazil's oldest bank, the Bank of Brazil, allowing residents to pay their taxes using crypto. So this will allow an expanding access to the digital ecosystem. It's available to Brazilians with crypto under custody using BitFi, which will act as the partner. It noted that besides the convenience it brings to customers, it could expand the use and access to the digital asset ecosystem with national coverage while having the comfort of a reputable bank providing consumer protection. So, you know, we have some bad news in the US, which could be taken as good news, but then we have some good news in Brazil. I still think the ecosystem is moving forward. I still see Bitcoin, you know, becoming bigger tomorrow than it is today. And I just want to, again, give you guys a warning. We had multiple signs that were pointing towards a potential pullback. One of them was being the resurgence of these meme coins, right? And not picking on anybody. If you made money in Bonk, congratulations. But, you know, everybody was buying up in this area. And everyone, you know, in the comments was like, talk about Bonk, talk about Bonk. And I didn't. And I'm glad I didn't because, you know, I mean, look at this. Actually, you know what's really crazy about this? Where have we seen this pattern before? This pattern right here. That is literally almost the exact pattern of the 2017, 2018 bull market. Seriously, go look at it. Where we went sideways and then boom, 50% crash. That's crazy. So I'm not saying that like meme coins can't come back and Bonk can't come back, but Bonk is down 82% from its all-time high. And it's not like 82% over the course of like a very long time. It's literally 82% over the course of about a month. Okay, so just be very careful about there chasing trends unless it's something that you really believe in. You know, and of course, having a look at Bitcoin, I still think there's a possibility we could even get up to this level, which is between 28,000 and 32,000. But at that point, you know, we'll see what happens. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope you're enjoying your Super Bowl if that's what you're doing. Make sure you get subscribed, turn on the bell notification. We're going to probably have a very crazy week again tomorrow now that we're probably going to start forming that death cross. So if you want to get subscribed, you know what to do. Check out the tutorials popping up right here, right now. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.